और हम भगवत गीता के पिछली बार हमने कौन सा श्लोक पढ़ा था, तो याद है? याद है। तो बुकमार के अब बुक में नहीं करते क्या? कहाँ तक? हाँ। ये भी हमने डिस्कस किया था, राइट? किसी को याद है? मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा है, आप लोगों को याद है कहाँ तक हमने पढ़ा था? थिंक 11 श्लोक हुआ था। ठीक है, चलिए 12 श्लोक दूसरे अध्याय का हम पढ़ते हैं। 12वां श्लोक। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयात्मधीरये। नष्टप्रायेष भद्रैः नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं स्वकृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारिणं प्रमाणप्रमाणात् त्वं सकलसर्वस्य च कृपासिन्धुर्देव च भक्तानां प्राणिभ्यो वैष्णवभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर आदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। तो आज हम पढ़ रहे हैं भगवत गीता एज इट इज के अध्याय 2 का। टाइटल है कंटेंट ऑफ गीता समराइज, और श्लोक संख्या 12, टेक्स्ट नंबर 12। न त्वय्येवाहं जातु नाशं, न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपा, न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम्। ट्रांसलेशन एंड purport by His Divine Grace श्री श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। पहला श्लोक मैं पढ़ूंगा और उसके बाद आप लोग एक एक करके श्लोक पढ़ेंगे। ट्रांसलेशन। There was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these things, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Purport. In the Vedas, in Kathopanishad, as well as in Svetashwara Upanishad, it is said that Supreme Personality of God is the maintainer of innumerable living entities in terms of their different situation according to individual work and reactions of work. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is also, by his plenary portion, alive in the heart of every living entity. Only single person who can see it within and without the same Lord, Supreme Lord, can actually attain to perfect and eternal peace. नित्यो नित्यानां चेतसाश्चेतनानाम् एको बहुनां यो विदधाति कामान् तम् आत्मास्थं ये अनुपश्यन्ति धीरास्तेषां शान्ति स्वस्ति नेत्राशम नेत्राशमा कथा कथा उपनिषद 2.2.30. The same Vedic truth given to Arjuna is given to all persons in the world who pose themselves as very learned but factually have but a poor fund of knowledge. The Lord says clearly that He Himself, Arjuna, and all living beings, all the kings who are assembled on the battlefield are eternally the maintainer of individual living entities, both in their conditioned and their liberated situation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the supreme individual person, and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal associate, and all kings assembled there are individual eternal persons. It is not that they did not exist as individual in the past, and it is not that they will remain They will not remain eternal persons. This individuality exists in the past, and their individuality will continue to exist. Individuality will continue in future without interruption. Therefore, there is no cause for lamentation for anyone. The Mayavadi theory is that after liberation, the individual soul, separated by covering of Maya or illusion, will merge into the impersonal Brahman and lose its individual existence, is not supported herein by Lord Krishna, the supreme authority. Nor it is the theory that we only think of individuality in the conditioned state supported herein. Krishna clearly says herein that in the future also individuality of the Lord and others as it is confirmed in the Upanishad will continue eternally. This statement of Krishna's is authoritative because Krishna cannot be subjected to illusion. If individuality were not a fact, then Krishna would not have stressed it so much, even for future. Mayavadi may argue that the individuality is spoken of by Krishna is not spiritual but material. Even accepting the argument that the individuality is material, then how can one distinguish Krishna's individuality? Krishna affirms his individuality in past and confirms his individuality in future also. He has confirmed his individuality in many ways. An impersonal Brahman has been declared to be the subordinate to him. Krishna has maintained spiritual individuality all along. If he is accepted as an ordinary conditioned soul in individual consciousness, then Bhagavad Gita has no value as authoritative scriptures. A common man with all four defects of human fatality is unable to teach that which is worth hearing. Gita is above such literature. No mundane book compares with Bhagavad Gita. When one accepts Krishna as an ordinary man, Gita loses all importance. Mayavadis argue that the plurality mentioned in this verse is conventional and that it refers to body. But previous to this verse, such a bodily conception is already condemned. After condemning the bodily conception of living entities, how was it possible for Krishna to place a conventional proposition on the body again? Therefore, individuality is maintained on a spiritual ground and is thus confirmed by the great acharyas like Sri Ramanuja and others. It is clearly mentioned in many books in Gita that this individuality is understood by those who are the devotees of the Lord. Those who are the envious of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead have no bona fide access to the great literature. Non-devotees' approach to teaching of the Gita is something like the bee licking on the bottle of honey. One cannot have a taste of honey unless one opens the bottle. Similarly, the mysticism of Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by the devotees and no one else can taste it, as stated in 4th chapter of the book. Nor can the Gita be touched by a person who envy the very existence of the Lord. Therefore, the Mayavadi's explanation of Gita is the most misleading presentation of the whole truth. Lord Chaitanya has forbidden us to read commentation made by Mayavadis and warned that one who takes to such an understanding of Mayavadi philosophy loses all power to understand the real mystery of the Gita. If individuality refers to the empirical universe, then there is no need of the teaching by the Lord. Plurality of the individual soul and the Lord is an eternal individual. Plurality of the individual souls and the Lord is an eternal fact, and it is confirmed by the Veda as above mentioned. Hare Krishna. तो हम जो लोग लेट ज्वाइन किए हैं हम वी आर रीडिंग फ्रॉम चैप्टर 2 टेक्स्ट नंबर 12 okay so what everyone understood from this verse, what do you make it from this sloka? Just little think about and share your opinion, your thoughts and your understanding about this verse. Anyone wants to share something? Vastava Prabhu, share something.
Lord Krishna wants to tell us that there will be no time when none of us will be there. Everyone will be present always. Everyone was
Yes.
present previously, as well as everyone will be present in future, always eternal. As Krishna is eternal, every individual soul is also eternal and will be present in the universe always.
Mm. Yes.
Nothing
One
is permanent except Krishna.
soul is permanent. Krishna is also permanent, and our soul is also permanent. Our
Yes,
bodies
yes,
are not permanent.
yes.
Yes. Thank you, Managaran Mataji. So, yes. So, but Mayavadi's philosophy, do you see what they argue? Like Prabhupada is driving there. They argue that Krishna or God is comes under the Maya and behaves like an ordinary person. And that's how they describe Bhagavad Gita message. So how should we approach Bhagavad Gita? Prabhupada is describing. Anybody wants to share in the last paragraph? Prabhupada is saying, how do you read Bhagavad Gita? Getting my question? What I said,
Yes.
that makes sense.
So without understanding Bhagavad Gita,
Yes, Matavi.
yeah, without understanding Bhagavad Gita, if we understand Bhagavad Gita, we know the taste of that, and yeah, yeah, it's
How do
possible for the devotees of Krishna who follow him, no for no one else.
so how do we understand this? Like any example we want to share in from this world that how people
Um,
you know relate this message. So like there's a statement that one should follow only become a devotee of Krishna, then one can understand the message of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So how do you convince a person who is not Krishna conscious, who is opposed to this?
if anyone understand Bhagavad Gita, they follow the rules and regulations, whatever Krishna has shared with us. Once we taste that, we cannot go out of that. I feel that, Prabhuji, I don't know how to express properly.
Yes, no, you're correct. You're telling end result. What I'm asking is, suppose if you meet a person and person says that I know Bhagavad Gita. So
Okay.
then what do you ask that person next?
Yeah, what is the content? He knows what is the content of Bhagavad Gita. He knows, and how he is following that. How he has changed his life according to Bhagavad Gita.
So yes, that's the same thing. So once Srila Prabhupada was visiting MIT,
Okay.
and MIT professor of religion, the head of department, came to visit Srila Prabhupada in Boston. And he was the world professor for religion. He was teaching religion in MIT. Still, you have a religion department. So Prabhupada asked him that, did you read Bhagavad Gita? So he said, of course, I teach Bhagavad Gita to my students, I have read all the Vedic literature or Eastern philosophy. They call it Eastern philosophy. Western people call Eastern philosophy to Indian philosophy of Islam. So I teach it every day. Then Srila Prabhupada asks, so what are you going to do now after reading Bhagavad Gita? And he's like, what to do? I teach in every semester, there is nothing to do. You just teach it. Then what did you understood from it? And he's like, no, it's a nice message. It's very feels good. very profound knowledge. Then again Prabhupada asks, so what are you going to do with that knowledge? Now, after understanding Bhagavad Gita, no, nothing. I keep on teaching this. If I teach other philosophies, I also teach Gita. So, what is that? And now, question for all of you: why does that professor was thinking like that for the Bhagavad Gita? Why was that response when asked what to do, what you're going to do? So why he did? Why did he say what to do in that? Just book, teach. What is about mindset? Why this person is speaking, professor is
He's just treating Bhagavad Gita as his responsibility career only. He's not following that. He's
Anyone else?
not entered deeply into that. He's just doing just like that.
Or why he was not able to enter into Bhagavad Gita message?
Really, he has not tasted that. That intent
Why
he
he couldn't
doesn't
taste?
understand.
Why he
Yeah.
was not able to taste?
I think without
Because he is
devotion,
not in Krishna
one
consciousness.
Yes, Pavitra.
He has
That's
not
what-
won. He has not won over his senses.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Surendra Prabhu. Pavitra Mataji, you wanted to say something?
That's what I came to say. Like without devotion, one cannot get the
Close.
the
I'm trying to get a direct answer. Very direct. First, Prabhu,
He must be
why
teaching
that professor was not?
he must be teaching
Yeah.
the karmic or Mayavadi interpretation of Bhagavad Gita, which teaches that follow the duties, but the true interpretation is to follow the bhakti,
Yes.
surrendering to Lord
Thank you.
Krishna and surrendering.
He is under Maya
Yes.
consciousness.
Through the bhakti.
Yes.
Is the true interpretation.
You're close. Most closest answer Kaustubh Prabhu gave that he was not in devotion to Krishna.
He was
and he
not
was
a
not. So
devotional.
because yes, and most of you were very close. One of the
Yeah, he is
main things,
under the influence of Maya, Prabhuji.
we all are under influence of Maya.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of us, right? Even we are in the Maya is tracking us, but
Yes,
behind
yes.
us. Now the main thing, he did not believe that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He doesn't say that Krishna is God. He did not understood this main message. And therefore, anything he was reading Bhagavad Gita took everything as ordinary. If he theoretically accept that Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead, and now let me read this Bhagavad Gita, then he will understand everything very authoritative, because then whatever Krishna is saying, he is the supreme authority God, and now that it starts making sense. You start believing in the words of Bhagavad Gita, and you start taking it very seriously. Hey, there is a message for me, not for just Arjuna, it's for me. It's not just a academic knowledge, it's practical. We have to apply in life, right? Because just like that, right? You may be hearing a lot of new channels, but you don't trust the anchor or channel you're hearing from. The message will not go into your heart. You will think, oh, these people every day talk like this. This is also one of the channels. But if a channel or a reporter or an anchor is your best and most trustworthy, then whatever that person says, you will take it and you believe 100%, right? So like that, if one may be very advanced in knowledge, in philosophy, intellectually, everything, but if the person does not accept Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead, the person will never understand Bhagavad Gita. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Nor can Gita be touched by a person who envy the very existence of the Lord. They envy Krishna. They read message of Krishna, but they envy Krishna. A lot of people. They say, oh, Gita was nice, what Krishna said, but I don't like when he did Ras Leela. I don't like when he has 16,000 omens. He was very bad person. I didn't like he made the Kurukshetra war. I don't think he was a politician. Very nice politician, wrote so Bhagavad Gita, but he was not a god. This is the enemy. This is the main reason most of people don't understand Bhagavad Gita. That's what Prabhupada is saying here, right? It's like licking the honey bottle from outside. So they're trying to taste the honey from licking the bottle outside. They never open the bottle. Opening bottle means first you trust that, hey, this honey, which is inside the Bhagavad Gita, is spoken directly by Krishna. And let me now take with that. It's like a Charnamrit and a normal. If you know that this is Charnamrit coming from Vishnu or Krishna, the moment you believe in that, your consciousness changes, and the influence of the same thing on you changes, right? But ordinary person, oh, this is the water, dirty water you're giving me, bathing water to drink. Someone bathe on it. I'm gonna drink that? Oh no. But a deity takes, oh wow, this is Charnamrit from the Krishna's body, and I should take it as a more than Ganges. It's directly coming from, and Gita is said to be more purifying than Ganges because it came from mouth of Krishna. Though there is Prabhupada said there is no difference between mouth and leg of Krishna. But empirically we can understand that yes, there is logically a difference, right? So the Ganga comes from toe of Krishna. This Gita Ganga comes from mouth of Krishna. Right? So anybody else wants to add anything? So let's go to next verse, text number 13. Who wants to read? Text number 13. Chapter 2, text number 13.
Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, ma'am.
Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirastatra na muhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such changes of body account for varieties of enjoyment or suffering, according to one's work in life. So, Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next life, or at least life in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment of material existence. So, in either case, there was no cause of lamentation. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul, and nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira, or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. The Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as a fragmental portion. Such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleavable or changeable, against the principle of the supreme souls being unchangeable. As confirmed in the Gita, the fragmental portions of the supreme exist eternally and are called kshara. That is, they have a tendency to fall down into material nature. These fragmental portions are eternally so, and even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same, fragmental. But once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead. The theory of reflection can be applied to the super soul, who is present in each and every individual body and is known as the Paramatma. He is different from the individual living entity. When the sky is reflected in water, the reflections represent both the sun and the moon and the stars also. The stars can be compared to the living entities and the sun or the moon to the Supreme Lord. The individual fragmental spirit soul is represented by Arjuna, and the Supreme Soul is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. They are not on the same level, as it will be apparent in the beginning of the 4th chapter. If Arjuna is on the same level with Krishna and Krishna is not superior to Arjuna, then their relationship of instructor and instructed becomes meaningless. If both of them are deluded by the illusory energy, Maya, then there is no need of one being the instructor and the other the instructed. Such instruction would be useless because in the clutches of Maya, no one can be an authoritative instructor. Under the circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior in position to the living entity Arjuna, who is a forgetful soul deluded by Maya. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. So this is very important slok. Dehin yasmin dehino yasmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara yatha dehantaram prapti dhirastu yati. As embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old, the soul similarly passes into the another body at death. This is theory of transmigration. This is basically describes this is transmigration process, right? A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So what did you learn from this? Anybody wants to say?
Our soul is not going to die anyway. At death, it is definitely going to transmigrate into a new body. So one who understands that this is the this is what is happening, then he shouldn't be afraid of the death, nor of his death or the closed one's death.
Yes, thank you. Yes, that's the message in theory. But practically, even great received in Muni who were well versed in Bhagavad Gita knowledge and self-realized, they cried and they lost their closed diamond. Right? So why is that? Because suppose if somebody passed away and you were Prabhu, my yatha kaumaram yavanam sadhe become a hero. Don't cry, don't worry. Your body. You off you. What is the nonsense? Last does this make sense? What I said is hard, right?
Yes.
Then how to apply this?
Yeah, Prabhuji, we have to understand that they are going to a new life, leaving all the problems or whatever are there in this birth. They're going to get new body, new life. So we cannot feel sad, but we are under influence of Maya. So we are still feeling.
Correct. The last line, right? The Arjuna's position, who is forgetful, so deluded by Maya.
Yes.
Yes. Now, here is the question for all of us. If Krishna comes to you now, this moment, right now in front of you, and says, "Oh, hey Prabhu, hey Mataji, let's go. Give up this body. Let's go to my place." What do you want to do?
Leave everything and go.
Yes, yes.
No second thoughts.
Do you really think you can do? You have, suppose if you're married, you have husband, you have the kids, you have mothers who are dependent on you. Do you think it's so practically possible?
If Krishna comes to us, that feelings won't be there, Prabhuji. Otherwise, he won't come to us.
That's a smart answer. But if he comes and says, let's go, now you're done.
Yeah.
Give
We
up
are
this
ready
body.
to go. Yeah, we are ready to go.
Hare
And
Krishna
you're
Prabhuji, I want that if Krishna
yes.
comes to us, we will not understand that he is Krishna because only Arjuna or the Pandavas were knowing that he is the true God, but none of the other people were knowing. So our ability is
Yeah,
not.
they did not believe first Krishna is God.
Yes,
Okay.
First thing you will say, you're correct. You will say,
we will have
are you
doubt that
really
whether
Krishna?
he is Krishna.
Are you really Krishna? How can I trust you? You may be cheating me. Just come here and take everything from me, right? First thing, yes, what Prabhu Kastava said. The first doubt will come. Yeah, you're cheating, dude. This is not true. You are not Krishna. Krishna will not come to me. Why he will come to me? I'm nothing, right? But if he still
Yes.
says, hey, I'm Krishna, you have to trust. No, how you show me how you're Krishna. Show me your Virat Rupa. Show me.
Proof.
Now, here is the next question to all of us. If a person comes to you, you have the old car, very old car. It barely works. You can drive it still. It helps you to basic things. Comes with a new Tesla and says, hey Mataji, hey Prabhu, take this new car and give me the old one. What you will do? You'll say immediately, hey, take it.
We won't believe
I
that.
don't need this
Why?
one.
Why are you giving?
No, you do. No, you won't question that. You will say, okay, I'm just charitable. I want to give people new cars. You say, all right, this is great. Show me the documents. I want to take it. Please ensure that it's not a stolen car. It's not something illegally giving. But there is no second thought. You'll just do it instantly. Like, okay, all right. Even if it is wrong, I got a new car. How does it matter?
No,
Because I
Prabhuji.
gave my
We
old one.
won't do that.
Most of people will do it. I can tell you.
Okay.
That's how the free things, how people take freebies from politicians. They allure people. Hey, take 2,000, 10,000 rupees and give me your vote. Or, I'll give you this wine, clothes, and people just fall prey to all these allurement.
Yes.
Most of people don't question because you are well off, you have a lot of money, you're not concerned to, maybe Tesla, you already have Tesla. But I'm just think of someone who doesn't have even Maruti Suzuki or a very old car or just driving a bike. Somebody says, hey, give me your bike, I'll give you a car. Do you think the person will be critically thinking too much? Okay, take my bike. Anyways, in future problem comes, I will say, he took my bike, gave me car, give me my bike back, I'll give you the car. How does it matter? Why we do that? Because we trust. Because in front of us, the car is standing. And we know that if a person takes my bike, then he or she will give me the car. Right? But the same level of faith, most of us doesn't have in Krishna. And we have so much attachment to what we are living with, right? Our education, power, money, family, house, as small as clothes. Clothes. Like somebody comes and says, Nagarani Mataji, can you give me all your clothes and I'll give you some new clothes? He'll say, oh, Prabhu, this is my favorite. This is my, my husband gave on my anniversary. This is my, grandmother gave me, and this is my mother's, last sign. This is my father's last thing. I can't give you this. Correct, right? Practically, this is how it is. Right? So, so that's the preparation. So otherwise, if Arjuna could understood this Bhagavad Gita message at the text number 13 of chapter 2, then rest 16 chapter, Krishna don't have to speak anything much. This is done. Kaumaram yonam jara tatha dehantaram prapti dhiram tatram uchyate. Arjuna, why you worry? Anyways, they will live forever. And previous verse, he said, everyone eternally exists. That's it. End of Bhagavad Gita. 40 slokas. Nice, right? Why 700 slokas? 40 was enough. 40, 50. Because we are illusioned, right? As all of you rightly said, we need another 650 slokas to understand a little bit of this message, right? So that's why. So we should very logically and practically try to read every verse. Let's go to the next sloka. Who wants to read? Text number 14. Very practical here. Verse.
Prabhuji, it's me. I'll read that. Matra sparsastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkada agamapayano nityastvam stitikshasva bharatam. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and the disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense of perception. O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. In the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non-permanent appearances and disappearance of happiness and distress. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath early in the morning, even during the month of Magha, January to February. It is very cold at that time, but in spite of that, a man who abides by the religious principles does not hesitate to take his bath. Similarly, a woman does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the months of May and June, the hottest part of the summer season. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Similarly, to fight is the religious principle of the Kshatriyas. And also, one has to fight with some friend or relative. One should not deviate from his prescribed duty. One has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of religious principles in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge. Because by knowledge and devotion, only one can liberate himself from the clutches of Maya, illusion. The two different names of address given to Arjuna are also significant. To address him as Kshatri, Kaunteya signifies his great blood relations from his mother's side, and to address him as Bharata signifies his greatness from his father's side. From both sides, he is supposed to have great heritage. A great heritage brings responsibility in the matter of proper discharge of duties. Therefore, he cannot avoid fighting. Namaste, Prabhuji. Jai Sri Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. So what did you understand from this sloka? Very powerful sloka. If you just read chapter 2 every day, it takes 45 minutes. Just translation in Sanskrit. Or you just hear, I have recording. Nowadays, what I'm trying to do, every month, 30 days, I will hear Sanskrit and slokas of each chapter. 1 month, 1 chapter for 30 days. So if you do that by 12 months, you will remember almost 12 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Because it's something you can hear every day, just get up in the morning and 30 minutes. Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, 30 days. Wow. Your brain will remember at least 5% of that message. Right? So nowadays I'm trying to hear. Last January, I started chapter 2 now. Actually, start with chapter 2. Chapter 1 doesn't have a lot of things. Chapter 2 is powerful. Very powerful.
Okay.
So that's where Krishna started speaking. Chapter 2. So this message, and what you can do, this is again practical thing I'm telling you. When you hear this Bhagavad Gita every day, like I have an audio, 49-minute audio, very nicely DOT has recorded, like Sanskrit and translation, English translation. So every day when you hear, just before getting up, put up your headphone, and then while working, exercising, cleaning, cooking, anything. So next day when you get up, just before you get up, try to remember one sloka of Bhagavad Gita. Any one sloka. Just focus on your mind and what sloka comes in your mind. And then the whole day you try to meditate on that sloka. Just one sloka. Just meditate on it. Just one sloka. Suppose if you remember, Dehinyasmin yatha dehe kaumaram yonam jara tha dehantram paptim dhiratam. Now, if you first thing you remember just after getting up, this will remain in your consciousness throughout the practically. So it will remain in your consciousness. You can try this. It gives you a different level of energy. Or big problem comes, oh, I'm not this body. Somebody insulted me. I'm not this body. This body will change. I'm a soul. You cannot touch me. You cannot disturb me. The whole day. Or this. This is so. Mataspa sastu kaunteya sitoshnu sukhdukha agama gama apayino nitya tam titikshusho bharata. So in whole day, if you remember first thing this in the morning, that this translation, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of this happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer season. They arise from sense perception. O sign of Bharata, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Generally, when people tolerate, they also become disturbed. What Krishna is saying, that you tolerate but become happy. It's hard, right? When you tolerate, you feel like anger inside. You're tolerating. What Krishna is asking, tolerate them without being disturbed. That's another level of ask, right? This is too much to ask for from someone so conditioned like us, right? But if we practice this, then what we are doing, we are worshipping Krishna by intelligence. And Krishna is very much pleased when he sees his devotees following message of Bhagavad Gita given by him. And when you tolerate, you're thinking, oh, Krishna told me to do this. No, Krishna said, tolerate without being disturbed. So it's not that I'm tolerating, but when my turn will come, I will take revenge. Now my अपना समय आएगा, हाँ अपना भी time आएगा. अभी तुम कर लो बेटा, इनको tolerate करूंगा मैं. I will tolerate, but when my time will come, I will take the revenge. Most of people tolerate like this, and this is the definition of toleration in this world. But what Bhagavad Gita tolerance teaches is without being disturbed, without being envious, without being revengeful, without being greed, pride, arrogance. You tolerate it, right? And how you do that? And if you take happiness or distress, it's like a non-permanent. It's like a summer season. When seasons change, do you lament anything? Do you care even like much? All right, new season, no problem. I'll adjust it. Prabhupada is giving weather changes. Okay, you do care for a few days. Winter came in now. Oh, new warm clothes. I need hot water. But then after a few days, you don't feel at all. No change. Oh, it's the same. How did it, right? Does that make sense what I said?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, so here, Srila Prabhupada is saying, do as a duty. Now you will say, why I should tolerate? I will pull away myself from that situation. But how far you're gonna pull away? Then situation will hunt you. So then better you just tolerate without being disturbed in a sense that say, hey, this will also go away. Let's see what is a positive message in this situation, whether it's happiness. Happiness, people, when they are happy, they become thoughtless. They go crazy. They want to enjoy, do party, go crazy. I have a lot of money. I got this. They are not thoughtful when they're happy. And they are not also thoughtful when they're distressed. They go in depression, intoxication, wine, drugs, sleeping for 16 hours a day. They go crazy when they're distressed. Again, they're not thoughtful. But a Krishna conscious person, when it is happy, very grateful and thoughtful. Oh Krishna, oh Guru Maharaj, oh Hare Krishna Prabhu Mataji. Because of your mercy, I have got this happiness in my life. I'm so grateful to you. I'm so thankful to you. Thank you so much. Ensure that this happiness doesn't create pride in my consciousness. Don't put me under Maya, thoughtful. And when they are distressed, if they are in stressful situation, what they are thinking, Matas Parsastu Kaunteya Sitoshna Sukhdukdam Agamamayino Paino Nityam Samtitikshasva Bharata. Oh, Krishna said that tolerate it. Why? How could we tolerate it? Because then we are again thoughtful in distress. Oh, Krishna is testing me via Maya. He's putting me in different situations. But Krishna is my loving father. He will take care of me. So I don't have to be disturbed, even in disturbing situations. Let me become more grateful that, hey, Krishna, you reduced my pain by giving this. Maybe it would have been worse in my life. I don't know. But even if you're doing worse in my life, testing me so hard, please ensure that I don't give up my bhakti. I don't give up my sadhana. I don't give up Hare Krishna chanting. I don't give up Bhagavad Gita reading. Please do it. Don't take me away, even if you take my everything, my health, my wealth, my money, my position, power. Still, please give me your devotional service. So do you think devotees are crazy? No. They become most thoughtful even in difficult situations. But materialistic person, when they are disturbed, they go crazy, go even commit suicide, kill their own bodies, finish it. So this is the difference. This is the benefit of being Krishna conscious and spiritual, and especially learning Bhagavad Gita and become conscious now. Because so many people doing so many spiritual practices. The unique thing Bhagavad Gita teaches us is direct application in our life. Every sloka. Even if you perfect one sloka of Bhagavad Gita, you can become liberated. One sloka. You don't have to do 700. One, you just take this sloka. Mata sparsasya kaunteya sitoshna dukda agamaino apaino nityam tantratiksha bharata. You will tolerate everyone. You remember Mahatma Gandhi, right? He was known as Mahatma. Bapu, father of the nation. What did he do? What did he do? He was in Africa. If you have read history and independence movement,
He brought
he was in.
independence.
No, hold on. He did not brought him independence. That's a misnomer. Now
Okay,
here, this
okay.
is a real story.
He
His
fought for
biography I have
independence.
read. He again didn't fought much. Okay, he was in alliance with British. Okay, there's an open secret.
Okay.
So what did he do? Now here, how did he was a big barrister, lawyer in Africa. He studied in foreign. So he was traveling on a train in South Africa. And one English person, he was a barrister, lawyer. One lawyer were more respectful in the world. Still they are respectful. So he was traveling in a train, and one English gentleman throw him away in the racism, on the name of racism. Hey, you are black. You cannot sit on this train coach. This is for whites. You remember, stuffs were thrown on the platform. He did not protest. He tolerated. Right? He was disturbed, but he tolerated. He came back. He came out of it. He stayed in Africa. He organized. What he did say. What did he thought? If this is happening to me, so much educated, what will happen to these old poor people here in South Africa? Let me organize a movement. So he organized a movement against British oppression in Africa. That's his first experiment. Okay, there. He got success. He organized those non-violent movement in Africa, and then Britishers has to, because at that time they used to create some certificate for anyone. You are this non English, you are English, so you get a certificate. You cannot get so many benefits. You cannot enter some places. You need passes, permits. You cannot even work in factories much. You just get menial work. So he did that. He's successful. And then he came back to India, at that time. What did he do in India? he was apparently the whole his technique of movement was tolerating, right? Ahimsa. Ahimsa means what? Even if you harm me, I will just tolerate. I will not get disturbed, right? He used to say that if you slap me one cheek, I will put my second cheek, so then you hit me here. Right, Nagrani Mataji? That's what he was doing. He was going everywhere
Yes.
saying, hey, don't protest Britishers with power, let's protest with silence, with ahimsa, non-violence movement, right? Non-cooperation movement.
Yes.
Why? Because he knew that this is more powerful. He read Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada
Okay.
said so. He personally openly said that I read Bhagavad Gita, I get so much inspiration every time I'm distressed, and this is his confession. So just one verse, tolerate without being disturbed. And take this as a non-permanent appearance and disappearance. He knew that at one day, in Britishers has to go down to me because this is just temporary what they're doing. Now, what happened? He was killed by a violent attack. He was shot on point gun, right? So the whole life you taught non-violence, but you were killed by the violence. Why is that? Why? Because it's not that I'm not justifying who is right, who is wrong. But Srila Prabhupada explains that he believed in Bhagavad Gita. And Srila Prabhupada wrote many times letters to Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi ji, now you are old. India is anyway going to be independent. Please retire from political life. Please become sannyasi. Please take up to spiritual life. Give up this politics now. You are done. Your purpose is done. He never responded. Because he never believed Krishna as the God. He never said Krishna is the God.
Yes.
He made Daridra Narayan. He said Narayan is Daridra. Right? Narayan is the how Narayan becomes Daridra. Daridra means beggar. Narayan is served by Sahasra Lakshmi, then Narayan becomes Daridra. Harijan. Right? Harijan means most poor. What is this nonsense? Because he was trying to amass people in his support so that his favorite people become prime minister and rule the country. And Britishers remain happy. He opposed Chandrasekhar Azad. Sorry, not Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose actually gave us freedom. In a war, you cannot fight like Arjuna. Arjuna was becoming non-violent. He was saying, even if Kauravas come and kill me, I'm ready to give up my life. You think in war, you can win the war by this attitude? Do you think like it's possible? You have to fight. You have to fight in a war. You have to do your prescribed duties of fighting. Like Arjuna is asked by Krishna. Right? So that is done by Subhash Chandra Bose. He went to Japan and, East Asia, organized all the movement. And then Britishers were terrified after World War II that, hey, if we don't give
But
up,
his
this
life
man
becomes mystery, Prabhuji.
was
His death and where his life and death
yes.
it
Now
becomes
I'm coming
became
to it.
mystery.
Now I'm coming to it. Yes. Now you understand this. What Krishna is saying to Arjuna, that Arjuna, even if you're killed on battlefield, you will get heavenly planet. So assume Chandrasekhar, Subhash Chandra Bose died on battlefield. He was fighting. He was in the war. He was fighting. He was in Japan, Korea, organizing all this. He died, suppose in a helicopter crash. He was killed by assassination, whatever. But he died on battlefield, openly fighting for the cause which he believed. But how did Mahatma Gandhi die? He was not on the battlefield fighting for anyone. He was just, negotiating with Britishers, ensuring that, to settle down in his interest. And then he ensured that later, because he created this religious differences because of, behaving differently, then Muslims wanted a different country. You promoted one faction of people, and then India became divided almost like two parts, right? If Mahatma Gandhi would have organized whole country on the God consciousness, hey, everyone let's forget about Krishna, just God. They're doing nice. We don't have this Khalistan movement, Pakistan, Bangladesh. All this is how India lived for centuries without being divided on religious basis. Despite being so many religion and everything, right? We assimilated all kind of religions. No, Muslims came, we assimilated. Buddhists came, we assimilated. Anglics came, we assimilated. Portuguese came, we assimilated. Spanish came, we took it in. What? How could we divide? We lived for thousands and thousands of years like that. But because of this politics, this happened. So we have to be very careful that whom we glorify. We have to see in background what's going on here. But the main point was that just if you take one verse of Bhagavad Gita and practice in your life will become perfect. That's the example I gave, Mahatma Gandhi, what they call Mahatma. Actually, he was not Mahatma. He was a politician, Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma means Mahatma means
Mahatma
that
in
you practice
politics.
with
He is
Mahatma
Mahatma
in
in
politics.
politics.
Exactly. So then he was killed by politics. He is just shot dead. इसको क्या बोलते हैं? Like you call आकस्मिक मृत्यु हो गई. Like somebody just killed without any purpose, right? So the Prabhupada says that's how it happens when somebody tries to cheat people. Then they met these kind of situations, and we have to be careful with that. So next verse, who wants to read next two verses, and then we'll stop for today.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Yam hi na vyatayantete purusham purusharshabha samadukka sukam dhiram so amritatvaya kalpate. O best among men, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Anyone who is steady in his determination for the advanced stage of spiritual realization and can equally tolerate the onslaughts of distress and happiness is certainly a person eligible for liberation. In the Varnashrama institution, the fourth stage of life, namely the renounced order, sannyasa, is a painstaking situation. But one who is serious about making his life perfect surely adopts the sannyasa order of life in spite of all difficulties. The difficulties usually arise from having to sever family relationships to give up the connection of wife and children. But if anyone is able to tolerate such difficulties, surely his path to spiritual realization is complete. Similarly, in Arjuna's discharge of duties as a Kshatriya, he is advised to persevere, even if it is difficult to fight with his family members or similarly beloved persons. Lord Chaitanya took sannyasa at the age of 24, and his dependents, young wife as well as old mother, had no one else to look after them. Yet, for a higher cause, he took sannyasa and was steady in the discharge of higher duties. That is the way of achieving liberation from material bondage. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. We can read next one, last one. Kaustubh Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
नासतो विद्यते भावो नाभावो विद्यते सतः वयोरपि दृष्टोन्तस् स्तन्तोस्तस् स्तन्तोस्तत्वदर्शिभिः. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Purport. There is no endurance of the changing body, that the body is changing every moment by the actions and reactions of the different cells is admitted by the modern medical science, and thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. but the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of the body and the mind. That is the difference between matter and spirit. By nature, the body is ever changing and the soul is eternal. This conclusion is established by all classes of seers of the truth, both the impersonalists and personalists. In the Vishnu Purana 2.12.38, it is stated that Vishnu and his abodes are all have self-illuminated spiritual existence. Jyot- Jyotim, Jyotim, Jyotimsi Vishnu Bhuvanani Vishnu. The word existent and non-existent refer only to spirit and matter. That is the version of all seers of truth. This is the beginning of the instruction by the Lord, the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. Removal of ignorance involves the re-establishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable, and the consequent understanding of the difference between the part and parcel living entities and the supreme personality of Godhead. One can understand the nature of the supreme by thorough study of oneself. The difference between oneself and the supreme being understood as the relationship between the part and the whole. In the Vedanta Sutras, as well as in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme has been accepted as the origin of all, eman, all emanations. Such emanations are experienced by superior and inferior natural sequences. The living entities belong to the superior nature, as it will be revealed in the 7th chapter. Although there is no difference between the energy and the energetic is accepted as the supreme, and the energy or nature is accepted as the subordinate. The living entities, therefore, are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord, as in the case of the master and the servant, or the teacher and the taught. Such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance, and to drive away such ignorance, the Lord teaches the Bhagavad Gita for the enlightenment of all living entities for all time. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु, थैंक यू। सो भगवान फिर से सेम चीज को बार बार हमें समझा रहे हैं कि न सतो विद्यते भावो न भावो विद्यते सता उभयोरपि दृष्टन्तो त्वान्यो सतत्वदर्शिभिः, that this body is temporary and soul is eternal, and non-changing, this body is changing. We scientifically know that we are aging every moment. Our body is getting old. Always think we are growing. Children are growing. So that's also getting age. That's why when somebody asks how many years you lived, that the definition is for age, age. What is your age? Means you are aging day by day. Age seems very nice. अब किसी कोई आपसे बोले आप कितने साल बुढ़े हो, बहुत बुरा लगे. How old you are now? That also looks nice. Old you are. Okay. बुढ़े हो गए हो, बुढ़ा नहीं हूँ मैं, अभी भी जवान हूँ. 70 साल का ही तो हुआ हूँ मैं अभी. अभी तक जिंदगी जीने के हमारे शुरू में है टाइम. अभी तक तो रिटायरमेंट लिया है, अभी आया हूँ मैं. अब तो मैं मेन क्रीच पे खड़ा हुआ, अब तो बैटिंग करना है मेरे को. अभी तो रिटायरमेंट का टाइम नहीं है. तो बट जैसे गांधी जी को भी रिटायरमेंट ले लेना चाहिए था. एक बार उनको लगा कि हो गया मेरा काम, अब सुभाष चंद्र बोस हैं, यंग पॉलिटिशियंस हैं, लेट मी गिव देम द बैलेट टू टेक नेक्स्ट टू नेवर. नहीं, रिटायरमेंट नहीं लूंगा मैं तो बैठा रहूंगा अपना, लाइक आई विल सिट देयर एंड बिकम अ बिग बॉस. Likewise, nowadays also, big professor and scientists, they don't retire. They want to become emeritus professor. They will work till 90, till the time they die. Now, They don't want to take sannyas because it's painful. You have to give up everything what you earned in your life. Do you think it's so easy? You give up your position, give up your power, give up your wealth, give up your family relation. But then you connect to Supreme Person. You can't just give up and sit down. You have to connect back somewhere higher purpose. And the most highest purpose, what we know so far as the follower of Krishna, that it's connecting our reviving and reestablishing, reviving our relationship with God, Krishna, and then serving Krishna in that relationship, in whatever psychophysical nature we have as per guidance of our spiritual master. We have been serving throughout our life under the spiritual master's name as mind. Mind is our spiritual master. We serve under his direction. Now, once you become spiritual and you take initiation, you accept a guru. Now you don't listen to your mind. You listen to your guru. Guru says, do this. So you do that. And then when Guru says do this, even if you're not qualified to do it, then Guru will make sure that you are empowered to do that. Right? Otherwise, he or she is not Guru. They are just cheating and exploiting you. If suppose your manager says, suppose let's take Pavitra. If Pavitra's manager says, Pavitra, you have to do this, and he or she knows that Pavitra is not ready right now, but still he or she wants, that manager wants Pavitra to do that job, that work, that project. Then Pavitra, as a genuine person, will expect, hey, my manager, I will do it, but please help me. Please empower me. Please give me this training. Please connect me resources. All this. Otherwise, if you're not doing that, then you're just exploiting me. You're just trying to put me through stress and distress. And probably want to remove me. That's why you're putting me in a most difficult project, but you're not giving me any support, any help, nothing, right? So you're not my well-wisher. But Krishna and our spiritual master is not like that. When they put us under difficult situations, apparently difficult, they also empower us how to face it. And how that empowerment you realize, it's always there. Mercy is always there. But how you realize that, right? Suppose if I give you $100 check, but you never deposit in your bank, you will never get that $100. So the mercy is always there. But how you deposit that mercy in your account, how you access that by spiritual practice, then you know, oh, this is how Krishna is giving me this mercy. Now let me take this as a blessing and deposit in my account. And then Krishna says, oh, even I'm testing this soul so much, this soul is very grateful. Let me be graceful to this soul and give everything this soul wants in life, whether it's material, spiritual, everything. But before that, you have to give the test, pass the exam, right? So with that, we will end here. और गए श्रील प्रभुपाद आज बोले गुरु महाराज भगवत गीता की जय हरे कृष्णा किसी का कुछ डाउट है anybody has any doubt question you can have 5 minutes and then we'll close this